Yes, my friends, the Denver Broncos are taking a bold gamble with their coaching staff, and fans are wondering whether this change will pay off or backfire dramatically. Plus, the draft is coming up, and new names are being tossed around. There are positions that need to be strengthened, and I hope Sean Payton gets the team right. Before you continue with today's news, make sure you've hit the like button if you believe Bo Nix should remain the Broncos' official QB in 2025. If possible, comment something like this: "Please, Sean Payton, keep Bo Nix." Now, speaking of the coaching staff, the team currently does not have a special teams coach on staff, and the situation has become even more uncertain after Chris Banjo, a beloved figure among the players, was taken by the New York Jets. The loss of Banjo has left many in Broncos country frustrated, especially considering he was seen as the natural successor to the vacant role. Sean Payton initiated this shakeup when he fired the previous special teams coach earlier in the offseason. The assumption was that Banjo would take over the role, but with him now headed to New York, Denver finds itself without a clear plan in place. This move could be a strategic masterstroke if Payton has a top-notch replacement lined up, but it could also turn into a complete disaster if that plan falls apart. The most obvious name linked to the job is Darren Rizzi, a highly respected special teams coordinator who has consistently produced top 10 units in the NFL. If Payton can secure Rizzi, then this move will look like a calculated risk that paid off. However, Rizzi is also a candidate for the head coaching position in New Orleans, and reports suggest that the Saints ownership might make a serious push to keep him. If Denver misses out on Rizzi, the team could find itself scrambling for a backup plan at a critical time. This uncertainty surrounding the special teams unit is happening as the Broncos prepare for the draft, where key decisions will be made about the team's future. According to a new mock draft, Denver is eyeing some major playmakers, with two names dominating conversations: tight end Tyler Warren and running back Ashton Jeanty. Jeanty, a dynamic offensive weapon, is projected to go as high as the 4th or 5th overall pick, but there's also speculation that he could fall to the Broncos at number 20. If Jeanty drops, would Denver consider trading up to secure a potential game-changing running back, or will they look to fill that need in free agency instead? Meanwhile, Warren, an elite tight end prospect, is projected to be selected at number 14 by the Indianapolis Colts. If he's still available at that spot, Denver could make a move to grab him. The team is expected to receive compensatory draft picks from the departures of players like Zach Wilson or Jarrett Stidham, which could give them the flexibility to trade up. Missing out on Warren by just a few picks would be painful, considering his potential to be a cornerstone piece of the offense. But the most intriguing pick in this mock draft for the Broncos is wide receiver Luther Burden III from Missouri. Dubbed the Deebo Samuel of college football, Burden is a dynamic playmaker with elite speed and the ability to break tackles. Sean Payton has been searching for a joker role player, someone who can be used all over the field, and Burden could fit that mold perfectly. The concern, however, is whether Burden is worth taking at number 20 or if the team would be better off addressing that position in free agency. The wide receiver market is shaping up to be fascinating. Big names like T. Higgins, Chris Godwin, and even Cooper Kupp are rumored to be available. Kupp, who signed a major contract with the Rams, could be cut to create cap space, making him a potential target for Denver. The Broncos are also linked to Garrett Wilson, as connections to New York could make a trade possible. In the later rounds of the draft, one intriguing name to watch is Tez Johnson, who has a strong connection to Bo Nix, one of the top quarterback prospects. Johnson, despite his slight frame, has been nearly unguardable in off-season workouts, consistently creating separation and embarrassing defenders. If he's available in the 4th round, Denver could be tempted to grab him and add more firepower to the offense. Another late-round prospect to keep an eye on is Jaden Higgins, a massive 6 feet 4 inches, 220-pound receiver with elite body control and fluid movement. His catch radius is outstanding, and his physical tools make him an exciting developmental player who could thrive in Denver's system. The question remains, should the Broncos use their 1st-round pick on a wide receiver, or would they be better off targeting a tight end? One name that stands out is tight end Colston Loveland. Given that Denver already has connections to Loveland, Colorado, adding a player with the same name could be poetic. But beyond the name, Loveland is a serious prospect who could provide a much-needed boost to the Broncos' offense. If the team decides to prioritize tight end in the 1st round, he could be a legitimate option. The Broncos' offseason is shaping up to be one of the most pivotal in recent memory. With question marks at special teams, major draft decisions looming, and the possibility of making a splash in free agency, the stakes couldn't be higher. What do you think? Broncos country, should Denver have moved on from Chris Banjo, or was this a mistake? Is Darren Rizzi the right answer, or are we about to see this gamble blow up in Sean Payton's face? And when it comes to the draft, Who do you want to see in orange and blue next season? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. One thing is certain, Sean Payton isn't afraid to take risks, and this offseason is proving that once again. But as Broncos fans, we've seen what happens when gambles don't pay off. The question now is whether Payton has a master plan in place or if this is another case of the team flying too close to the sun without a backup parachute. The special teams situation is particularly concerning because we all saw how critical that unit was last season, both in good and bad ways. Remember the blocked field goal against Kansas City? That was a turning point in the game, and special teams issues like that can be the difference between a playoff berth and another year of mediocrity. That's why losing Chris Banjo stings. Players loved him. He was young, energetic, and well-respected. And now, he's gone, and the Broncos don't have a clear answer. Darren Rizzi might be the guy, but as we mentioned earlier, the Saints aren't going to let him walk without a fight. If Denver can't land him, where do they turn? Does Payton have a secret candidate waiting in the wings? Or is this going to be a last-minute scramble to fill the role? Because if there's one thing we know about NFL coaching hires, the best candidates don't stay unemployed for long. Every day the Broncos go without filling this position, the options shrink. And let's not forget, special teams is about more than just kicking and punting. It's about field position. It's about momentum. It's about winning those little battles throughout a game that can tilt the outcome. If the Broncos downgrade at this spot, it could cost them dearly in 2024. But let's shift gears to the draft because this is where things get really exciting. Luther Burden III is such an intriguing prospect because he represents something the Broncos have been missing, a true game-changing YAC, yards after catch, receiver. Cortland Sutton is an elite contested catch guy, but he's never been a run-after-catch monster. Jerry Jeudy has had flashes, but he's been inconsistent. Marvin Mims is a burner, but he's not that physical, tackle-breaking threat who turns a 5-yard slant into a 40-yard gain. That's exactly what Burden does. And if we're being honest, Sean Payton has been searching for his version of Deebo Samuel for years. We saw what he did in New Orleans with guys like Alvin Kamara and Taysom Hill in those hybrid roles. Burden could fit into that joker position and finally give Payton the versatile weapon he needs to truly open up his offense. But is he worth the 20th pick? That's the debate. If the Broncos can get a legit WR1 in free agency, say a T. Higgins or a Chris Godwin, do they really need to spend a first-rounder on Burden? Or should they use that pick to fix the tight end position, a spot that has been a black hole in Denver for way too long? Tyler Warren would be a dream fit for this offense. He's big, athletic, and has the potential to be the best tight end the Broncos have had since Julius Thomas was catching touchdowns from Peyton Manning. But the problem is, Warren might not be there at 20. So what's the plan, Broncos country? Do you want to see Denver go all in on a wide receiver at 20, or should they prioritize tight end? Is Ashton Janney worth trading up for, or would you rather see the Broncos add a veteran running back in free agency? And most importantly, what's your confidence level in Sean Payton's decision-making? Is this special teams gamble going to pay off, or are we looking at another misstep that could haunt the team all season long? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and let's keep this conversation going. Broncos country, we've got a lot to talk about, and the offseason is just getting started.